anxiety. Okay. Look. You got me thinking if it was really worth it, putting in all of this effort just to end up less than perfect. But aren't our great defenses something used for our protection? Or are they just another way to force out imperfections? I guess I'm just defective, pointed in the wrong direction. The library in my head is one fucked up selection. Now children pay attention, and you'll receive attention, cause after this, I'll ask you an array of questions. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, what the fuck was that intro? I don't know where I was going with that. Welcome back to the 40 Ounce Fridays podcast. This is episode 47. 47? I'm gonna go ahead and say it is 47. I could be completely wrong about that though. Welcome this week. This week, like I said, is just gonna be some update stuff. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we're also going to be doing the UU retrospective too, so that'll definitely add in some time. I don't have a lot of quick news, so yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and jump into it so we can get through everything. Like I said, this is gonna be more of an update podcast episode type deal, kind of like how I did with, I think it was episode 19 way back in like season 1 stuff, when I was announcing that I was gonna get the upgraded equipment and stuff like that. Got a few announcements here, actually some major stuff for me personally and just for the podcast and everything else that I'm doing. But in terms of quick news, it is also episode 47. I just checked because it was going to eat at me. Quick news, Mortal Kombat Aftermath, as of this recording, is out. I don't remember the exact release date. I think it was the 26th, so it came out yesterday. I'm recording this on May 27th, 2020. So this is going up on the 29th. But yeah, Mortal Kombat Aftermath just released. I don't really have much to say about it just because I don't have it. My brother has Mortal Kombat. He bought Mortal Kombat 11 with the Combat Pack as like a bundle that came with the complete edition of Injustice 2. Because it was cheap. I think it was on sale for like $40. It was like super cheap, so he just went ahead and got it. But he doesn't have Aftermath, so I guess whenever he gets the money to buy it, he'll probably get it and talk about it to me. But yeah, I don't personally play a lot of Mortal Kombat. That's just me. I don't dislike Mortal Kombat. I do enjoy Mortal Kombat. It's just not one of my favorites up there. But exciting to see. They added Fujin. Fujin is back. Shiva. And the guest character RoboCop. Why they picked RoboCop, I do not know, but they did. Mortal Kombat Aftermath not only comes with those 3 characters, it has like some kind of expansions add-on to the story, so there's more story being added on. I believe new costumes, they have stage fatalities, so they got new stages too. Friendships are back, so if you don't know what friendship is, in Mortal Kombat, they have, you know, their fatalities, like the killer finishing moves when you win a match. There's, back in the older games, I don't remember exactly actually what game they came out in, but there's these ones called Friendship, and they're special fatalities where instead of, like, you destroying the person entirely... Who's making that noise? You, instead, make a friendship with them. So you give them a cake instead of cutting their head off. Like, stupid stuff like that. So that came back into the game through the update. I believe the expansion is $30? I could be wrong about that, but I believe it's $30. But I feel like it's kind of fair if you play enough Mortal Kombat and you want the extra characters, the story, the stages, all that stuff. I think it's worth the $30 from a outside looking in perspective. I can't say for sure like if it is worth it to a actual player of the game, like a true player of the game, but we'll see when we get to that point. Other than that, that's like the only quick news I have. Nothing else really was on my radar. Oh, recommendation. The other night I watched a movie. It's called The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. It's an animated film. It's an anime film. I got it on the YouTube movie stuff because I wanted to watch something, and my buddies Johnny and Joel had watched it, and they talked about it on a podcast they were doing. and they seemed to really like it. It was like $10 to buy, so I bought it. I just went ahead and picked it up and watched it. It was really interesting. I enjoyed it. Has the same like art style and animation. If you watched Devilman Crybaby, it has that sort of art style to it, where it's really like weird and fluid, and the characters are kind of elongated. It was really nice to look at. It was colorful, and it also fit the theme because there's a lot of drinking going on throughout this movie in the night. So the weird art style and representation fit, like, I guess, the characters' mindsets at the time, because they were all getting smashed. They were all getting super drunk. Like, throughout the movie, I'm just like, this is it, because the movie all takes place in one night. It's one night. So every scene when they're drinking is still within, like, the same, I don't know, couple of hours. So I'm just like, they're still drinking? Like, bottle after bottle? Like, and they're still just able to walk around freely? It was wild. A lot of interesting characters, weird little plot points going on. It was cool. It was cool. I don't want to talk about it too much, because I feel like that gives away too much. Like, it's something you just need to experience yourself in order to get a vibe for it. But if you're interested in that, I don't know where you can watch it for free. I watched it, like I said, I just bought it for like $10 if you want to buy it on like the YouTube movie service. But if you want to watch it for free, I'd probably Google it, allegedly. I'm not recommending anything illegal, but Night of Short Walk On Girl, it was a good movie. It came out like 2 years ago, so I'm probably going to try to get some more like animated films just to like watch and talk about. Maybe like later on a different podcast, I'll do like a full review of that movie specifically. I'll probably have to watch it again. It was only in sub. It didn't have dubbed. So, you know, you have to sit there and pay attention. So I'm probably going to watch it again just to see if I missed anything through my first watch. And other than that, that's it for quick news. So we'll just jump into the retrospective. So Yu Yu Hakusho episode 20 was 7 Ways to Die. And it's called that due to Suzaku's most powerful technique, which we'll get into in a second. But last week, Suzaku and Yusuke finally face off. Suzaku being the leader of the Saint Beast, you know, the Phoenix being reborn, all that good shit. And we talked about his annoying-ass bird, Maguru, also being a representation of that. So we're in the middle of that fight, 3-part finale, so we're in part 2 of that. Yusuke and him were duking it out. Yusuke trying to get his hands on the whistle. We saw Yusuke's like new amped spirit gun for the first time that Suzaku punched and then damn near electrocuted Yusuke. But Yusuke was still able to get up and outsmart Suzaku, land a punch on him. Meanwhile, Keiko and Botan are still fighting for their lives against the zombified teachers and students at the school. So that's where we left off. Oh, and Kuwabara, Hiei, and Karama are fighting the cultivated humans outside of the castle. So that's where we left off, and we're jumping. The episode starts off jumping right back into whatever was going on, and Suzaku and Yusuke are continuing to throw the hands. So Yusuke rushes in immediately and starts throwing another barrage of punches at Suzaku. Suzaku blocking them again, one-handed, and we get like this kind of, I feel like it's a little awkwardly long in a sense, just because, you know, it's an older show, so they're kind of saving money reusing like animation scenes, because it's kind of like the same 3-4 like clips, like scenes of like throwing the punches and blocking, played from like sort of like zoomed in, zoomed out angles back and forth for a good amount of time for that fight scene, and then they have the music playing in the background. It was kind of weird when you like, it's not bad, it doesn't look bad, I understand why they did it, and it was fine, especially back in the day. But when you like notice it, you can't stop noticing it, so I'm just like, fuck, they're just looping this. And it's not like a big deal. It's more the fact for me now, because since I do the retrospectives, I try to pay as much attention as possible to everything when I'm seeing, when I'm watching an episode, instead of just, you know, casually watching it, because I want to go over it and give my thoughts on little bits and details of information. I want to be as thorough as possible when I do it. So I was just like, what the fuck, dude? It's just looped 4 times. But Yusuke then manages to knock the whistle out of Suzaku's hands. He runs for it, but Suzaku's like, nah, nigga, I don't know what you thought this was. And zooms up and just right from behind Yusuke just wallops him on the side of the face. And he's like, you got me fucked up. Picks up the whistle. Yusuke looks like he's about to fall and hit the ground, and Suzaku catches it. Then he like sweeps Suzaku's leg and knocks him off balance. He jumps up, grabs Suzaku and starts like rushing him, like tackles him and kind of rushes him towards the wall, holding on to like the wrist, Suzaku's wrist, the hand where he's holding the whistle. So they're struggling, and I really like that scene because it's so quick. It's just like Yusuke knocked the whistle out of his hand. He goes for it. Suzaku punches him. Almost had it. Yusuke sweeps his leg, knocks him off balance, rushes him, tackles him to the wall. That scene was cool because there was little to no dialogue explanation. And, you know, sometimes in anime fight scenes, like, they have to stop and explain things. The only bit of dialogue that really went on in that exchange was Yusuke thinking to himself, damn, almost had it. But he didn't explain what was going on. He just was like, fuck, I almost had it. And then they just kept fighting. So it's really quick, but it was really cool. And it was refreshing to see after that fight loop that played, like the clash of punches and like the blocking. It was nice to see like something new and varied right after that scene. So kudos to them for that. Yusuke pins Suzaku down to the wall, and they're still struggling. And Suzaku's like, all right, nigga, cut this out. And he raises his like fingers with his free hand and like channels a bunch of electricity in it and just electrocutes Yusuke's arm, just shocks it to get him off of him. And Yusuke's like, fuck! And I forgot that even happened. That's such a cool like thing. He doesn't necessarily have to do Storm of Torment or like a full power electrical attack. He could just channel electricity between his two fingers and like kind of zap you with it. I like that. It was cool. So Yusuke's like, okay, we're still gonna have to figure this out. And Suzaku's actually like impressed and annoyed with Yusuke at the same time, because it's like, he didn't think Yusuke would be giving him as much trouble as he actually is at this point. So he's like, alright, I'm gonna have to show you my other favorite move. One of those moves was the Storm of Torment, and here's the other one. So he starts flexing. He gets into like this kind of weird horse stance, and Yusuke comments on it. He's like, nice stance. And I was just like, wow, dude. Yusuke can be losing a fight, and he will still trash talk you. So meanwhile, with Keiko and Botan, they're still hiding from the teachers. One of them has like, I think it's like a broken bottle or some kind of sharp object, and they're trying to stab Keiko with it. And they kind of slash like part of her school uniform, like her top. I think it was like near her shoulder or something. Botan and her run into like a classroom and like kind of barricade themselves in it as the zombified people are trying to bust through. So now they have to think of another plan. Meanwhile, outside, again, another like reused animation thing, but understandable. They're doing the same old thing, and we're gonna see a lot of new stuff being used anyway. So this stuff is very few and far between. But Kurama, it's just to notify you or let you know that Kurama, Hiei, and Kuwabara are still currently fighting the cultivated humans outside. So it's still the same shots of Hiei slicing through them, the same shots of Kurama like whipping them down with his rose whip, and the same shot of Kuwabara just knocking these niggas' heads back with his bare hands. I'm pretty sure he's just conserving energy, but it's still funny to see. So it goes back to Yusuke and Suzaku, and Suzaku's still charging up. He kind of crosses his arms when he's finishing off. All this aura surrounds him, and then when it like kind of goes off, he starts splitting. Like he starts turning into multiples. Like if you had blurred vision and you're like, oh, I'm seeing double. Like, but this is literally happening in front of Yusuke. Koima and George are watching it from the monitor at Spirit World, and they're just like, oh shit, this looks like things are getting a little dangerous. So when the move is finished, there are now 7 Suzakus. So here we have the legendary Prism of 7 technique. So now things are getting a little dangerous, because Yusuke's definitely holding his own against Suzaku one-on-one. Suzaku has the upper hand, that's for sure. Before the clones, Suzaku had the upper hand in the fight, you know, and he was fighting him one-handed because he was holding on to the whistle. But his overconfidence was leading him to make mistakes that Yusuke could exploit and take advantage of. So Yusuke still is like trying his best, but he has caught Suzaku off guard a couple of times, and Yusuke has been able to take advantage of it. So it's kind of been a good fight, like a good fight. Yusuke's had some good odds, some good attempts to try to, you know, claim victory. Now things have gotten a lot more difficult because he's already like going this hard fighting one Suzaku, and now there's 6 more of them. So this is where things get real fucked up for him. So Yusuke doesn't really know what move he can make against him. And Suzaku's like, look, bro, it's about to be a motherfucking rap for you, bro. So Suzaku and his 6 clones, who he states these clones are not just like illusions or doubles. Like, these are like Suzakus with their own thought process. And so like, think of like Naruto shadow clones. You know how in Naruto, the shadow clone jutsu, they make solid clones, like real manifested clones that have their own like personalities. Like it's like if you had 2 Narutos, and the only difference is the clones go poof. So that's kind of how they're represented, but I think it's a level higher, more realism. It's not like, oh, they poof when they're killed, like they just die. So as we'll see in episode 3, what they're really capable of doing. And I really like the move that comes up in episode 21 that Suzaku does with the 7 clones, the 6 other clones, because it really represents the idea that he is the Phoenix, where like Meguru is kind of like the little bird sidekick that's also supposed to represent, oh, Suzaku is the Phoenix, he's the leader of the beast. There's also the move that comes up next episode. If you haven't watched it, first of all, please watch Yu Yu Hakusho if you haven't watched it. Come on now. It would make following these retrospectives a lot more exciting, trust me. And my descriptions and like little intricate side talks and rambles and stuff don't do it enough justice. And 2, because that technique is awesome. So, anywho, the 7 Suzakus jump up, and they all charge up electricity, and they form this electricity into like bows and arrows. They all have a bow and arrow, charged up with electricity, and they fire. Now this is called Prism Storm of Torment. So literally, Suzaku just fuses his 2 master techniques, the Storm of Torment and the Prism of 7, to create this. So all Prism Storm of Torment is 7 Suzaku shooting Storm of Torment. It's really simple, and like when you think about it, but like this shit is deadly because an indirect Storm of Torment almost killed Yusuke. So now he has to try to dodge 7 of these, after saying like, if that shit touches me again, I'll probably be dead. So Yusuke, as these arrows of death rain down on Yusuke, he charges up spirit energy in his fist, and he starts running to avoid them. So he's running, and any one of the Storm of Torments that gets near him, he swings to punch it out of the way with, like, you know, his spirit energy charged around his fist. And he manages to deflect a bunch of them. One hits the ground dead in front of him, and kind of like bursts into electricity, and it kind of knocks him off his balance. And then the last one comes up, not a direct hit on Yusuke again, but it does like graze into like his kind of like shoulder area. And this shot, this is probably like my favorite shot of the whole like Yusuke versus Suzaku fight, because you can see the agony he's in. Like last episode where he got grazed by the Storm of Torment and he got electrocuted, this is on a whole nother level. Like he's like floating into the air, and the screen kind of like gets to like this black and whitish kind of shot to show what's happening, and you can see the arrow kind of like grazed into his shoulder, and then he's just electrocuted, and you can see his eyes kind of like white out, just like ugh, and you're like, oh fuck, that's it, that's a wrap. Like the shot is so cool. I feel like it's one of those iconic shots, especially from season 1. There's another scene that I feel like is really iconic. We haven't gotten to it yet in season 1. I'll bring it up when we get to that point. It's during the Yukino rescue, but it's one of those epic moments where you're just like, fuck, dude. So Suzaku continues talking his shit as Yusuke's on the ground, looking like he's finished for good. And he's like, alright, looks like we're done here. Tried to step to me, and you got stepped on, bro. As simple as that. Yusuke's not done yet, though. He gets up. He struggles to get up, but he gets up. At this point, Suzaku is now annoyed. Like, he's like, alright, at first, you surprised me. You caught me off guard. I was impressed, you know, I had to flex on you. But after all of that, you're gonna get up again to try to defy me? Like, this is like when Suzaku's like reaching like the limits of his patience, and you can kind of tell. Because Yusuke's still talking smack to him. He's like, no, give me the stupid whistle. And Suzaku's like, get down! And he just socks the shit out of him back into the ground. And Yusuke his face smacks into the ground. And he's like, alright, look, bro. Since you want your ass whooped that bad, I'm just gonna have to have you watch Keiko suffer and die. And then he tells the clones to pick him up. This scene is so disrespectful. It's like, I forgot about it. Thinking about it, like, it's like when I was talking about last week, where I'm not really like, I've watched the show so many times, I'm not thinking about the scenes as intensely as I would if it was the first time I saw it, but since I'm doing the retrospectives, it's going into a lot more detail. So like the shot of like when Suzaku first shows up and he's playing the flute, and you can see Keiko and Botan on the monitor struggling, and Yusuke first enters that room. I was talking about, like, dude, that scene is like crazy, like cool. I love that scene. This is another one, and it's just like, this is such a flex on Suzaku's behalf, and like his voice actor and like his actions just make him such a sophisticated savage. Like, so Suzaku's chilling on his throne, has the Makai whistle, Meguru on his shoulder, you know, his little bird sidekick, while two of the clones hold Yusuke up, like Yusuke is kind of like on his knees in like this sitting up position, and then there's one clone on each side of him holding one of his arms up. The other four clones are just standing in a row along like the path to Suzaku's throne, and behind Suzaku's throne is the big ass monitor of Keiko and Botan as they're watching the scenes play out. And Suzaku's all smug, talking shit, and Yusuke's facing the monitor so he can see it. And he's like, and Suzaku's like, give him enough to torture him, but not enough to kill him, like a slow, steady current of electricity. So it looks like Botan and Keiko are hiding in like a closet in the classroom, like one of the locker closet things in the classroom they're hiding in. They barricaded themselves in as the teachers are coming through, the zombies. And Yusuke's getting electrocuted, like slowly just shocked. Like I said, just enough to hurt him, but not enough to knock him out or kill him. Like, he's still conscious. It's just a steady stream of torture going through his body. And I don't think this move has a name, but I would probably name it the Prism Storm of Torture, because that's essentially what Suzaku's fucking doing. He's just torturing him at this point. He could kill him at any time now. Like, Yusuke's lost, and he's starting to lose hope and resolve in himself as he's watching Keiko and Botan struggle. So he's not even trying to fight it. He's just getting shocked, and he's on his knees just watching. And I'm just like, how fucked up do you have to be to do this to somebody, especially a child? Yusuke's 14. Like, and it's such a wild scene when you really take a step back and look at it. Like, holy shit. So the teachers bust in the classroom. Keep in mind, Yusuke is watching this the whole time now. And Suzaku's like, oh, it looks like we're getting to like the climax. This is going to be the best scene. And so they come in and they see the closet door. The ringleader of the zombies is, what's his name? Iwamoto? Is it Iwamoto that's the evil teacher? The zombified one? The big dude with the glasses, the one who got the spirit gun in the back way earlier in. He's like, and I don't know if the zombies take over your mind and like memory to make you say mean shit, or if they also bring up some feelings you've had hidden deep down. But he starts talking shit on Keiko too. He's like, Keiko, you always acted like you were so smart, but you're not that smart. I was like, damn, son. Because he sees like Keiko's scarf poking out of the closet that they're supposedly hiding in. So himself, and the other zombies pick up like the little brooms, like push brooms, and they start jabbing into the lockers with the closet doors with the top end of the push brooms. But they're like zombified strength, so they're like busting holes in this metal storage closet. And Yusuke's just like, no. Like, he starts panicking because he didn't see exactly where they hid because they were busy fighting. He was busy fighting Suzaku. So he also assumes Keiko and Botan are in there. And they just bust a bunch of holes in this closet. And that was it. That was like kind of Yusuke's breaking point. He's like, dude, Keiko is dead. Like, in his mind, she's gone. Like, she just got killed. And he just was watching while being tortured. So his hope is starting to rapidly dwindle. He has no chance of survival, but we're going to get to that point, what's going to happen next. Back outside, we actually get some more scenes of Hiei, Kurama, and Kuwabara. I was going to say struggling. They're not struggling. There's just a lot of fucking cultivated humans. They definitely aren't struggling. They're beating the shit out of all of these things. The cultivated humans are more of like a time-consuming annoyance than a threat. So Hiei's like, it gets to the point where like Kurama's just like standing in place and just whipping them as they come near him. And they have like this far out shot showing all three of them in this scene, and you can see Kuwabara just like jumping back and dodging them, and then punching one, then jumping back and then dodging them. Hiei's like gliding through the air, slicing through them. Like, they're not a threat. It's just a fact that there's so many that it takes up so much time to get past them. So as that's happening, Kuwabara looks up at the tower window Yusuke managed to leap up and get to earlier in the last episode, and he's like, alright, fuck it. So he calls up his spirit sword and he starts extending it, and he's gonna try to pole vault himself up to the window. And I don't know why they couldn't just let Kuwabara have this, but they couldn't let Kuwabara have this. So as he's vaulting, you can tell, and he can tell, that he's not making it to the ledge. He didn't quite get high enough. And he smacks his face into like the pillar, like the tower wall, just a bit below the window. And it looks like he's about to fall down, like there's like an indent of his body into the side. And he manages to hold on, and he's struggling to lift himself up. He's all bruised, trying not to fall. And then below him, as he's struggling, you can see like the last of the cultivated humans on the ground, and he and Kurama running up to the tower entrance at the bottom. And Kurama's just like, Kuwabara, what are you doing, man? Why are you up there? And he is like, we already cleared a path through them. Stop goofing around. We need to go. I was just like, y'all couldn't just let Kuwabara have it? Y'all couldn't just I felt so bad for him, because I was like, nigga, y'all couldn't. It didn't. You still could have had that part where Kurama and he are just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You already cleared a path. But still had to make it up. Kuwabara looked so hurt. He was like, bruh. Had he just waited a couple more seconds, he wouldn't have even had to go through that. So the scene changes. The three of them are running up the tower steps now. And as they're making their way up, guess who's making their way down? More cultivated humans. So now they're just like, fuck, we don't have time for this. Like, they can all sense Yusuke's in trouble, so they're trying to hurry up and get up there to help him. So now they're still fighting through more cultivated humans, but now in an even more enclosed space, because they're just on like this kind of like spirally tower stairway. So it goes back to Yusuke, still being electrocuted. And his eyes are whiting out, his hope is dwindling. They got Suzaku has 4 more of his clones, the other 4 of his clones start shocking Yusuke too by like zapping him with lightning, like the finger electrocution thing that he does. And Yusuke's just like, fuck, it's over. And Genkai's voice starts echoing in his head, you know, calling him a dimwit and like an idiot. Look at you giving up just like always. And he's like, but Keiko's already, like, you know, she's gone. And so Genkai's voice is like, give the girl more credit. She's not dead yet. And then Yusuke's like, what? What are you talking about? And he looks up, and in the monitor, the closet was actually a decoy. Like, they put the scarf poking out on purpose to lure the teachers towards that. So as they bust through and the doors open, the scarf just falls to the floor. Keiko and Botan come out from hiding behind the curtains with brooms of their own, and they're pushing their way through to get out. So Suzaku sees that, and he's like, yo, what the fuck? Come on, bro. Like, now he's even more annoyed because he thought they were dead. Like, he was like, finally, we just wrapping up everything nice in a little bow. And so he's like, all right, fuck it. I'm finishing you off. So he starts zapping Yusuke too, and he's about to throw a finishing blow, like kind of like a Storm of Torment energy ball finish. And Maguru's like laughing, like, "Oh, you're going to die!" And Yusuke's still pinned down, and it shows this flashback to Yusuke training with Genkai, and Genkai lecturing him. So Yusuke's, balancing on like a spike, using spirit energy within his finger, so the spike doesn't stab into him. And Genkai starts striking a nerve with him because she's always like, you do everything half-assed. You never give everything your all. When things get hard for you, that's when you back out and you say you can't do it. And it reflects on Yusuke's character because she says you're like naturally talented at fighting. So what? Which he is. He's a naturally gifted fighter. He's, I said he has like a good stroke of luck, which he does. And I'm not saying Yusuke only wins fights through pure luck. He does take advantage of said luck to achieve victory. So it is also his own efforts and cleverness being used along with that. That's why I like Yusuke's fights a lot, because he takes advantage of good opportunities. But she is right about Yusuke not putting his all into something. Yusuke always has to, give up when things are looking tough. Like when he was fighting Kazemaru, he was fully ready to die and try to sacrifice himself too to take Kazemaru out in case he was rando. But he wasn't thinking of a way out of it. He just got lucky and fell into the swamp. So he was like, you know what? Fuck it. It looks like I'm not going to win. He wasn't trying to think of another way out of it. And even though it was a near hopeless situation, that was his thought process. He was like, fuck it. I guess this is it then. He's not giving it his all. He's not trying his best. And as Genkai's continuing to lecture him and drill this into his head, he's like, you old bitch, this and that. Stop it. Shut up.
Don't you remember one step of your training? Get out of my head, you old bitch!
Shut up. You act like you know me. And she keeps going and going. And Yusuke's had enough. So he freaks out and he blasts himself up into the air with spirit energy. And then he's up high in the air, charging up a spirit gun, getting ready to try to shoot her. And she's just like, see, look, you had all that energy left just to so look, you just proved my point. You're doing your training like everything else, half-ass. And I was like, yo, she really fucking called him out on that, because he was sweating and struggling to balance on that spike. And she's like, look, you have all that energy to jump up in the air and then try to shoot me, for real. But you were struggling down here. So he's he's 14, so he's shut up, you old bitch, this and this. You think you know me, you think all you people. So Yusuke's always kind of felt like he didn't belong, like we saw in the first episode. He hates the town, he hates the school, this and that. He felt like he wasn't wanted, which is why when he originally died, he was like, nah, why would I try to come back? I don't think anyone wants me here. And as he's getting ready to shoot her, Genkai's like, oh, that's cute. You're gonna kill me to deal with your problems. And he's like, whatever. So Genkai jumps up, vanishes. She's so fast. Old ass Genkai vanishes, appears behind Yusuke, and just knocks him in the head back into the ground. And she's like, you need to stop acting like this, giving up when things look too hard, and actually put your heart into something for once. And this starts kind of like this character arc for Yusuke where he got his life back, he has a second chance at his life, and now he's a spirit detective. Now we're moving into this stage of his growth where he needs to break that wall of emotion he always puts up, and that's what leads to him really tapping into his true power. And you can say it's cliche, but one thing I'll give Yu Yu Hakusho credit for is that trait for Yusuke is extremely consistent. When Yusuke actually lets his emotions out and doesn't try to, act tough and hold them up over this wall, that's when his powers are at their best, at their peak. And they consistently do this throughout the series, even times after even after we reach that full circle arc with his fight with Toguro during the Dark Tournament, and we reach the peak of that idea. It still kind of happens in Chapter Black and during his last fight during the Three Kings arc. So it's something very consistent with Yusuke's character. He needs to put his heart in everything, and he has to put his heart into everything and give it everything he's got in order to tap into that true power and that true sense of self. So he's just it goes back to, the present time. He's still being electrocuted. Suzaku's about to finish him off. And he's just like, what is this all for? I've been fighting and doing all of this, but why am I here? Why am I doing it? And it flashes back to all these events. It shows, Hiei, Kuwabara, and Kurama doing their fights against their Saint Beast. Clips of Yusuke's mom, Atsuko, crying when he first died because, he was gone from her life. All the moments prior to this, prior cases, Keiko running up to, give him the life energy he needed to be revived initially, all this stuff. And he's like, I'm alive because of them. I have to protect them. That's why I'm here. So his resolve is finally met at this point in time. And we're really getting, I like that scene because it really shows that we're getting to the finale of this first initial arc. We still have a good few. Season 1 of Yu Yu Hakusho is 28 episodes. I thought it was 26. So we actually still, after episode 21, that's 6 more episodes? 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, or 7 episodes. So we still have a good amount of stuff that's going to happen, but the next few episodes after the Saint Beast arc only build up for what's going to happen in the Dark Tournament. So we're reaching the finale of I call it the early Spirit Detective Saga, or just the Spirit Detective Saga, is what I would call episodes 1 to 21. This all-encompassing kind of these cases and the ordeal to get his life back, because it all builds up to that point. Yusuke, at the start of the series, when we see him, he's yeah, I don't need to be revived, because it's who the fuck really wants me back? And he saw that his mom missed him, Keiko, Kuwabara, the principal of the school. There were people that cared about him and actually wanted him to do well in life. Oh, and the boy that he saved from the car, he thought he saved from being hit by a car, when Botan tells him the kid actually wouldn't have died from being hit by the car. But he sees all of that, and so he's all right, I'll do the ordeal. And he goes through the ordeal, he gets his life back, he's willing to sacrifice the chance just to save Keiko. He comes back anyway, thanks to Koenma, he's made Spirit Detective, and throughout all these cases, he's been building his character up until that point, where he went from nobody cares to these people care, so I need to care because they're giving their all for me, so I need to pull my weight as well. And that's what I like about this arc. And a lot of people say the Four Saint Beast arc is underrated, and I do agree from an action standpoint and a character standpoint for both of those. I think it's just because, it's a short arc. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9 episodes long. It's not super long in comparison to the Dark Tournament, Chapter Black. Even the Three Kings arc is longer than the Four Saint Beast arc, but it didn't need to be that long because it just serves as a finale for this character arc for Yusuke purely. And his interactions with these other characters, like Kurama, Hiei, and Kuwabara, kind of lead to them growing as better characters too, or at least starting to blossom as such. Mainly Kuwabara, because we've seen him the most. But we see them have major character arcs in the Dark Tournament onward due to them interacting with Yusuke in Season 1. So it's a good starting point. This is where you really see like those ideas of meaning for the characters grow. And when Yusuke comes to that realization, boom, more power is awakened from him. He's more confident in himself again. He's not just gonna kick back and let this shit happen, and he fights back. And this boon of spirit energy just knocks all the Suzaku clones and Suzaku back from him, like away from him. And he's standing there confident, more powered up than ever. 2 of the Suzaku clones are laid out from Yusuke just powering up in general. And now Suzaku's like, alright nigga, we need to end this now. And that's where the episode ends. So next week is the finale of the Four Saint Beast arc. The finale of the fight between Suzaku and Yusuke. And the ending to the first saga, like the first major cycle of growth for the characters in the series. And like I said, this is only the beginning for Yusuke's growth, because he is fighting because he has to defend them. And so the next arc is going to be more so that, but also more personal, because now he has a relation to Genkai, which is going to lead into Goro. And I think the cool part about the Dark Tournament stuff and Toguro is not only is Toguro just a great villain, just the way Togashi wrote the relationship between Toguro, Genkai, and Yusuke is awesome, because Toguro didn't take interest in Yusuke because he trained under Genkai. He didn't know that yet. I don't think he knew that until around the Dark Tournament point. He heard about Yusuke and Kuwabara doing like busting like demons down, like these wanted demons, like these powerful demons in terms of the power standards of the story, and he was interested in testing them out. He was impressed enough for him and Elder Toguro, his brother, to fake their deaths and then force them into the Dark Tournament. And then we see that Toguro and Genkai have a past, so it's kind of like, I wouldn't call it a coincidence, it kind of is like more of like a fate thing that Yusuke would encounter Toguro, because now he has to finish what happened long ago between Toguro and Genkai. But he has his own reasons for doing it. You know, he sees Genkai as like a parent figure, like a grandmother kind of thing. Like, he jokes about it, like, you know, he calls her an old lady, but he cares for Genkai. But he also has a sense of respect for Toguro and some sort of admiration in a weird way. He even says that at one point. So it just all flows really well, like how those threads just like, oh wow, this was meant to happen. Like, this is what he needs to do. So I like that stuff. But this episode was good. Like, definitely, like the deeper the episode went, like the longer it went by, the better it got. So I really enjoyed it. Next week is the finale, and it's a good finale. Because they went through it, boy. This was definitely the first major case. Like, Rando was a good arc, like the whole Genkai tournament, and it's a big case, but I don't know, man. There's something about the Four Saint Beast arc. You're just like, that was a ride. Like, yeah. So expect that for episode 21, and that's all I got to say about that. I really like that episode. That's why I was talking about it for so long. But now we will move. So I guess it's a good thing that I didn't have a lot of quick news and other stuff to talk about either, because we can move into the update portion. So that'll be the second half of this podcast. So moving into updates, I got a couple of things to talk about. First off, the podcast. This is probably like the least biggest update, so I'll be going with it first. 40 Ounce Fridays podcast will continue as normal. Weekly, doing episodes. Upload schedule on the day might be different. Like, it might come out a little later. I know I usually have it come out every Friday at noon. That's when the episode like uploads, like officially is released. But I might do it later in the day for a few reasons. One reason being that the podcast is called 40 Ounce Fridays Podcast because I also wanted to drink while I was doing it. But since I have to do it at my house, currently I got my family. I don't want to be late later in the night when it's, you know, the sun goes down and everyone's just trying to chill, being loud and obnoxious as I'm knocking back beers and yelling about anime and shit. Sorry. So I drink a lot of coffee because I record the podcast in the morning. Right now it's like 11 a.m. So I get up, get a few things together, and I record the podcast for like an hour or two and get it done. Then I edit depending on other things, get other chores done. That's my day. So it might come out later because I might actually record it in the night. So it might I might have it released later in the night to match that. It'll still probably be recorded like a day or two earlier, just so I have time to edit and do some other things. Because I want to do some improvements on the editing. I want to do improvements on the editing and things of that nature, just to make it a little more unique to myself and my nature and my kind of personality. So, but to match up with the fact that I'll be like probably drinking during the podcast, I'll probably have it uploaded between like 7-8 p.m. instead of 12 noon. Let me know if that's a good idea. Should I still upload it at noon? Should I upload it later but not that late? Should I upload it later than that? Let me know what you guys think about that. But another reason why that is possible, or is going to be possible, is I am planning on moving, hopefully, within the next month and a half-ish, I want to say. We actually are doing a viewing for an apartment today. It's going to be me and some friends, including my girlfriend. We're going to be getting a place together. So once I have that space, I'll have a little more freedom to record and do other stuff like that at any time I choose, rather than having to do it in the morning. Like I said, I'm being respectful of my family. That's why I do it earlier in the day. That way they don't have to worry about me making a bunch of noise at night. So that'll be helpful. So yeah, that's one announcement. I am planning on moving. We're definitely in the process of doing that. Like I said, we got a viewing today, so we'll see how that goes. When I move, I move. The podcast still should be uploading normally, even when we do officially have a place and I'm moving things. I should still be able to make the time to record. They might be shorter episodes. Maybe I won't have as much time, but they will be going up. The podcast also will probably experience like an upgrade in recording quality. Hopefully, I want to research more to do a little better with that stuff and improve. Like, I think the quality from season 1 compared to season 2, after I think the first initial episode or 2 of season 2, when I got the laptop and the mic and stuff, I think it upgraded drastically in quality. I think we sound a lot better. I have kind of like my own flow of how I do things. I do get a little off topic. I do get off topic a lot still, but that's just me rambling. I do actually have a structure to, like, with the quick news, and every now and then when I recommend something, doing the retrospectives, our main topics, I'm able to record longer, so the podcasts have been longer. I know you guys have noticed that certain podcasts will be like 2 hours to 2.5 hours, where normally like the longest I used to go is like an hour and a half. This one I don't think is going to be too long. It probably won't be any longer than a little longer than like an hour, if we're being honest. It depends on how long I talk about these updates. But so slight updates to like quality, slight updates to our upload schedule, slight updates to this and that and that and this. Also, am I still going to be doing like the season 2 finale to season 3 airing thing? Yes. Season 3, I'm still going to split it up into seasons. I just feel like every time something's going to change or something's going to upgrade and be a little better, that's like, a sign to call it a season. Season 1 was a very, very humble beginning of recording off my phone through the Podbean app. Now I actually have better recording equipment for season 2. Hopefully we'll get even better recording equipment for season 3, as well as we're going to get a new space to record. So it's a good transition. Like, yeah, we'll call it another season. When is season 2 officially going to end? I want to do it like I did with season 1. We did like 27 episodes of the podcast, and I called that. I was like, oh, that's season 1. So I guess, because 27 times 2, what is that, 54? So I guess episode 54 will technically be where season 2 ends. Then we'll take a break. I don't know if it'll be a week like from season 1 to season 2. I don't know if it'll be longer, but season 3 will start on episode 55. That way, and then we'll just go from there. So that's the plan for the podcast. In regards to Art Project, if you don't know what Art Project is, I've talked about it a couple of times, especially earlier into my podcasting stuff. Art Project is essentially like, I don't want to call it a company because we're not really a company, but like, you know, an idea for like a group, or like what I would umbrella all my projects under. Like, that's my whole thing. That's why I always plug the Art Project Facebook page if you want to get updates on my story writing, podcast updates, and general updates and stuff like that on anything like creatively I'm doing. Put it under that. Art Project's still probably going to be the same thing, slowly building on that. The pandemic definitely slowed things down. So hopefully we get back on track soon enough. In regards to Another Random Tale, which is the comic book story I've been working on, that's still going on. I'm still currently writing that. I put up a post about it on the Art Project page on Facebook, talking about a few things going on with it and why I haven't been talking about it as much. And the reason for that is, you know, mainly things have been slowing down, my own personal like worries and fears and stresses going on with it, me getting over that, this and that and this. Another Random Tale has become something really fucking big in terms of me planning the scale of the story, where I want to take the story, what I want to do with it, yada yada yada. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I feel like I did bite off more than I could chew with saying like, yeah, we'll have this done by this and this done by that. I really underestimated how much work and effort it's going to take to put in this. And, you know, I work, I do the podcast, I do this and that. I put a lot on my plate. It isn't like, oh, you know, it sucks, I got to do all of this. I'm the one who did that to myself. You know, I focus on a lot of things creatively that I try to do on top of working. So it's my responsibility at the end of the day to make sure what I want to get done is done. But yeah, I did bite off more than I could chew. So being a bit more realistic with it now, Art Project's Another Random Tale gonna keep going. Another thing is that also slowed down due to the whole pandemic thing. I can't meet up with my team of like illustrator/editor folks because we shouldn't be meeting in person. We need to social distance. But I've still been working on it. I definitely have. I'm working on it right now as we speak too. But I won't be doing any kind of official updates or announcements about it until something is actually real. You know, until something is actually manifested. I'm not even going to say anything about it because I'll be like, oh, this is going to happen soon, or this is going to happen soon, and then it doesn't happen. So I'm just going to wait until I know it's for sure, and then we'll just do it instead of just announcing things before they happen. Make the move. Don't announce your move. Make the move. So that's the logic behind it. I'm also not going to try to forcefully schedule myself for certain things because that also drains me a lot and kills my motivation to do certain things. My motivation to write Another Random Tale has never died, like ever. But my motivation to just like get up and do stuff has, because I'll be so exhausted and I'm like, oh, but you have to do this. Oh, but you have to do this. You know, you force yourself to do stuff where you really aren't in the state of mind to do it. So Another Random Tale will be written as I go along writing it. One thing I did set as a goal for myself, it's nothing like forced. I'm like, I don't have to do it. I told myself, you don't have to do it, Doesn't have to happen, but set a goal for it. I want to have the script for the first arc of Another Random Tale done by the end of the year. So that's like 12-ish chapters, maybe a little more, a little less, depending on how I write it. So the first arc's not going to be that long. But I want to have that written and done by the end of the year, and I'm officially going to continue writing that said script in June, so that'll give me 6 months to try to do that. If I don't accomplish that, that is okay. It's just a goal I set for myself. That way, because the way I was thinking of it is, if you do that, then your next goal could be like, write the next arc for the script, and just, that'll be 2021 for you, and just keep doing that, and then keep working on the comic when you can work on the comic. That way you have scripts to go ahead, but don't force yourself, you know? Set goals, set milestones, attempt things. Don't consider it a failure if you don't succeed with those, because at the end of the day, it's still being written. So that's all I'm going to say about Another Random Tale. So whenever I do another update for it, expect it to be something actually already materialized. You know, if I say like, oh, the pilot chapter, or like this draft chapter will be available for you guys to read, like the first draft chapter of the first issue of the comic or whatever, you know, the first chapter. That means it's already pretty much done or almost done being drawn and written, and you'll be able to read it, instead of me saying, I'll plan it for this time, but we're still barely paneling it, you know, shit like that. So expect real things to happen when I mention Another Random Tale. What else was I going to mention? I mentioned, you know, moving, the podcast, Another Random Tale, art project. Oh, I got a webcam. I ordered it. Took a while to get here just because, you know, pandemic, issues with shipping again, but it got here yesterday. So I want to start doing video stuff. I'm gonna, you know, be looking up things that I can use as resources, maybe go on Skillshare, do like a video editing course, stuff of that nature. And I want to do it when I move, but I want to eventually start doing like videos for YouTube rather than just using YouTube as another place just to dump the podcast episodes on, just so it's on another platform. I never expected the YouTube channel to get super big. It's just like another place I can put it. But I want to do videos more about topics that I feel won't fit the podcast. Like, I was thinking, what if I put the UU retrospectives as their own videos rather than making a segment on the podcast? Not that I don't like doing it on here, but it does eat up a lot of time. And I'm like, well, what if I made it its own thing and made it a YouTube video series and put it on YouTube as its separate kind of like series? And then for the podcast, I just have, you know, my quick news, I recommend stuff, and then we have more time to talk about like main topics. I feel like that would work out a lot better than what I'm doing now. And not that I think the UU retrospectives take too much time up in, because no one's complained about them. Like, no one that talks to me about the podcast is like, you talk about Yu Yu Hakusho too long. I don't think anybody really cares. Like, the podcast is long. And so, and usually the retrospectives can range anywhere from like 20 minutes to 40 minutes. I think I talked about UU for like 35 minutes this week on this episode, but we'll see how that works when we get to that point. But I want to do that after I move, just so, like I said, I have more time to actually freely record rather than getting up in the morning. And then also, since it'd be a video format, not only would I have to shower, because for the podcast, I shower, I wash up, brush my teeth, all that shit. But I would also have to be dressed for it, make sure my beard looked good, because my face is going to be in those videos. So I'd rather do that when I move and have the option of and freedom of time to do those. Also, I'd have to edit, so, you know, longer process for those. But I want to do the retrospective videos like that. I wanted to do a video series where I kind of just give like my honest opinions on smaller topics and, you know, stuff that I necessarily don't think would be a main topic on the podcast. like short form videos, kind of like 10-15 minute things, just me rambling or ranting about an opinion. Is it an unpopular opinion? It might be an unpopular opinion. I'm not going to say they're all unpopular, because they're just my opinions. Whether they're popular or unpopular, I guess that's up to the majority. But I want to do stuff like that. The UU retrospectives. I want to do like UU like fact kind of videos. The YouTube channel is going to have a lot of dedication to Yu Yu Hakusho. I love that stuff. You know, like how like anime YouTubers like Swag Kage do like videos about like this explained or that explained, and Geekdom does the whole like technique guide stuff and facts like that. I really like Yu Yu Hakusho, and I feel like I can inform a lot of people about little things they might have not known or noticed about the show, whether it be from the actual show, from the manga, behind the scenes, like Tagashi writing stuff, just bits like that, into video forms, like a technique guide for Yu Yu Hakusho, character analyses, arc analyses, origins for like character concepts, shit like that. So let me know if you would be feeling that. That would be for the YouTube channel though, for like videos. So we got podcasts, videos, a comic book story. I'm doing a lot. But the main thing about it is I'm learning not to try to forcefully schedule myself. It'll be done when it will be done. You know what I mean? It'll be ready when it's ready, as long as you're actively putting the work into it. So I'm telling myself, do it, but I'm not telling myself like, do it by then, or you have to schedule this now, because some days I'm not going to have the energy to do so, or at least maybe not the energy to do a video and a podcast and a UU retrospective and write. Maybe I can only do like one, or maybe I'll only have enough time or energy to do like one or two of those things. You know what I mean? So it'll happen when it happens, but I feel like once that ball gets rolling, I'll be able to more consistently do it on a schedule. So I'll let the schedule form itself rather than make the schedule and then try to force myself to follow it, if that makes sense. Last little update. Yeah, see, we're already an hour in. I'm probably going to finish up soon. The last little update is music related. Me and my buddy Ryan, we're going to do music. The opening song you guys hear for the podcast is a demo version, essentially, of a song I want to put on a music project. And I had stuff planned out for it, and a friend was like, oh dude, yeah, I have a place where you can record, it's not far from your house, yada yada. And I was like, Ryan, are you down to do this? And a few other friends wanted to join in on it, so I was like, dude, this would be super cool. Coronavirus. So that immediately died. Like I was like, yeah dude, fuck it, yeah, let me make like some kind of mixtape or something, that'd be awesome, with all my friends that I used to do music with back in high school and college. Be super cool. That fucking died so fast because of coronavirus. That shit was like, nope. Y'all trying to do what? Together? In the same space? Nah, son. But, so that immediately halted, and I hadn't been writing anything. But after coming to a lot of realization with things that I also mentioned in the long little Facebook message I put up on Art Project's page, I was going through a lot of anxiety working on Another Random Tale, to be fully honest. Like, and it didn't really hit me how much was on my plate with that alone, with Another Random Tale alone. Like I said, I want to do YouTube videos, I want to improve the podcast, I'm planning on moving now, Another Random Tale, I'm talking about this music thing. I was super hyped, I was super excited, and I am super hyped and excited about making Another Random Tale a comic book and making this story like a full-fledged reality. But when the pandemic hit, and I also got furloughed from work for like almost a month, so I was home like every day. It's not like I could really go anywhere or see anyone, and I wasn't working, so the only thing I would do would be like play games or do the podcast, which I guess benefited because I was able to finish Fire Emblem 3 Houses because I was inside all the fucking time, and I was able to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake because I was in the house. But other than that, I wasn't really productive on anything else because it made me fucking uncomfortable to work on it, especially Another Random Tale. It like started to really dawn on me when I was like stuck in the house every day, like, dude, this is a fucking lie. Like, you're really gonna do all of this? Like, all that, those thoughts would echo through my head, like, you're really gonna do all this? You're really gonna try to do this? Do you really think you have enough time to do it? You're already 26. Like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like, boom, boom, just rapidly, just going through my head. And there was, like, even points where I was just like, maybe you should just cut your losses, not work on Another Random Tale, and focus on the podcast, or focus on such and such and such and such. You know, something you can already do and you're, like, slowly building, like, a footing into. And it scared me. Like, thinking about writing Another Random Tale fucking scared me for a good while. Like, I was like, fuck. Like, and I didn't want to do it. I just ignored it because the thought of working on it made me really uncomfortable. It made me really anxious. It made me feel panicky because I had built up this world and this idea for a couple of years now. This has been an idea in my head, and getting it on paper, so to speak, because I'm typing it, but is like now kind of weighing on me, just like, fuck, dude. This is big. Like you guys, Another Random Tale, originally when I started thinking of the idea, was not intended to be nearly as big of a story and like a world and all of that as it is now. Like, it's a lot. Like, a lot of history, a lot of different arcs for the main story, storylines and history bits planned for these other characters throughout the history of the world, the abilities, like the power sets and all that stuff, a lot of various stuff. And it's not to like toot my own horn or flex, because you guys probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but I did plan out a lot of stuff. Whether that stuff is cool or not, I guess will be up to everyone else when they finally get a chance to look at it. But it is a lot of stuff to plan. It is a lot of work to do. So when it finally like was time to buckle down, because you think being on quarantine and being stuck in the house every day would be the perfect time to do that. It's like, dude, yeah, you're furloughed, whatever. You have plenty of time to write now. And I barely did any writing. The most writing I did was for the FF7 remake review. In that like 3.5 weeks of being furloughed, I wrote maybe like a page or two for Another Random Tale, and I was doing something else with it, like tabletop idea games with it. But like in terms of actually writing like story, like 2 pages. And then I wrote a full review for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because even though, you know, it was a review for that game, that big long that game that was processed, and it took a few hours to write, and then there was like a 2-hour video, 2.5-hour video that I recorded for it. I only had to do that once, you know what I mean? It's like, once I have my review done for it, that's my review for it. Another Random Tale is going to take years to fully like write and finish, when it officially starts even. And I was like, dude, you're like in the later half of your 20s. You're really gonna do this now? Like, you know, those negative thoughts started eating at me. And I think one thing that really got me out of that is, you know, being calm and getting that fresh air kind of rejuvenated me, getting back to work, being able to, like, even though like the only time I'm outside is when I'm walking to work, when I'm walking home from work. So it's not like, oh yeah, I'm often outside. Like, no, I'm not. But I think that helped. You know, finally really thinking it over and getting my thoughts together helped. It just took time. It just took a lot of time, but I got past that hump, and that's why I'm kind of more relaxed with not pressuring myself. I think that was the main issue too. Like, my main issue was like, I need to hurry up and get this done because I'm not getting any younger. It's just like, dude, everyone finishes things at their own pace. I'll get it done when it gets done, you know? Don't rush it, because then it's not going to come out as good. No rushing. But it was one of those things that took me a minute, and I had to figure it out for myself. So I might, by the time Another Random Tale is done and completed and all that stuff, I might be an old ass man. Who knows? Who knows how old I'll be? But the fact is, I'd rather have it take longer to make, like, let's say when the comic starts officially, like, going along. This is a hypothetical, like, if it's an actual published comic series that I can sell, make money off of. Let's say this shit takes me, like, almost 20 years to write or something like that, and to finish. It'd be worth it because I would be able to do the story how I want it to. I wouldn't have to rush anything. I wouldn't have to cut stuff out because I feel pressed for time, or I feel like this needs to be done quicker. I could take my time and get that authenticity out of my head and out there, and I'd rather that than rush it just so I can say, like, I did it before now, and it didn't take that long, and then there'd be, like, plot holes or, like, information that could have drastically helped understand a story point not being there, or this would have been cool if I had put it into the story. I don't want to regret anything about Another Random Tale. So that's my whole thought process of it now. So I was talking about music, and I went on a whole other tangent about it. Just know that I'm chilling now. Shit happens, you get anxiety. But it does relate to the music, because it kind of also helped me form a better idea of what I want to write for this first little music project. Like, I've been like rapping since, like, I was like 15 or 16. And, I was in a band with my friends. I don't know if I mentioned this. We were a little high school band. We were called Drown the Sound. And we were doing stuff from, like, late into my sophomore year, all the way until I want to say, like, my second or third year of college. Because, eventually we drastically slowed down on music because, a lot of us were going to college. All of us got jobs. So it was harder to practice, let alone schedule a show where we were all free from work to go play a show. And we needed money, so it's not like, oh yeah, we'll call off work to go play this show. We don't make any fucking money from the shows, so why are we calling off work? So, we never, like, broke up, but it did, like, slow to a crawl, to a standstill. Every now and then we try to get together for a jam session or practice or do something. But, it's been a long time since I could really consider us a full official band. But, none of us, I would say, have given up on music. Not even a little bit. We still all do our own thing. And I've just grown musically in terms of, like, my taste and, like, acceptance for music. Like, I listen to a wide variety of things, mainly hip-hop and rap, but you guys know me too. I like J-rock and other genres, just a lot of shit. So I think that's affected my writing too, especially song-wise and just, like, sonically. And this project really is going to, I think, encompass that and represent that, because I have an idea for the sound of it too, how I want it to sound. And the thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna have, like, a producer, like, make beats, or if I want, like, friends like my buddy Ryan and some other people to do music with me and kind of have, like, a band play for it. I kind of would rather have the band play for it, mainly because I'm more used to that, because when I was in Drown the Sound, we were a band. So I'm more used to that than rapping over beats. But I've rapped over beats before, like, clearly. So maybe a combination of the two even. But the whole project is kind of going to be based off anxiety, mainly my anxiety, and how I deal with that. And it's going to be 7 tracks. I picked, like, 7 songs already. I think, like, 2 or 3 of them are older songs that I've already had written, and Drown the Sound has played as a band already. But I feel like they're, like, really strong songs that I enjoy enough to have on there. Then I have, like, 2 that I've written before, but I never like played with Drown the Sound or publicly at a show before. And I kind of just went back to those older songs and like looked them over and like rewritten certain lyrics for them. I have 2 that are like brand new things that go along with this whole theme that I was feeling at the time. Oh, I have actually 3 songs from Drown the Sound. So it's 3 from Drown the Sound, 2 that I have already written before and kind of revised, but never like actually officially made into a full-on song, and then like 2 more ones. So it's like 7 tracks altogether. Sorry if I was talking really low when I was doing that. I don't know why my voice got so quiet. But that's the whole plan for it, and that's the whole theme it's revolving around. What is it called? I was mulling over a name for a really long time. I was like thinking about like, what should I name this? What should I call this? And I'm calling it Hollow Beach. That is the name of it. I think once it's done and it like comes out, how am I gonna release it? It'll definitely be free. I'm not gonna sell it. I don't think so. And also, it's like my first project. I don't want to sell it. I kind of just want to, just give it out, see what people feel about it. And it'll be like my first official like actually recorded like music project. Because everything I've done before, it's been just like live. There's a few tracks with friends I've done years ago where we played, we recorded over beats, and like I recorded at their house. So there's like a couple of old tracks. I don't know where those tracks are. I don't know if my homie even still has them. Shit like that. But this will be like my own first project. That's the plan, at least. That's the name of the game. So expect that to be happening soon. So that is my final little announcement, and that's kind of the overall updates for Art Project. So Art Project is going to continue the 40 Ounce Fridays podcast on into season 3. Expect changes after I move. Videos coming once I move and get settled in. I'll work on that. So I probably want to say at the latest, some point in early 2021, maybe expect a video. Maybe. It all depends on how long it really takes me. Another random tale. Like I said, announcements will happen when they're ready to happen. And then Hollow Beach. When would Hollow Beach be coming out? When I was originally saying, yeah, let's do music. Let me make an EP before like the Corona thing really hit and everyone had to be on lockdown. I wanted to have something made this year and release, probably mid, like starting on the later half of this year of 2020. That's probably not going to happen, judging by how long this has been going on and how long it will go on. So probably expect that at some point in 2021. I would say we can probably like send each other recordings of like music and raps and beats and work on that after I move too, and maybe form something long distance wise. I have to still plan that out, but I'd probably say expect that in 2021 as well. So, expect these updates to be long-term things going on over the course of between like July to January of 2021. So July 2020 to January 2021. Expect these changes to be moving forward. That's the idea. That's the plan, at least. But other than that, that's about it. This one was a weird one. I wanted to write a script for the updates for like this podcast in general, just because it was mainly going to be an update thing. But I just never got around to doing it, and I kind of feel like I like this better because I feel like I'm being more honest and open about it and what's going on. And I'm also still working through the motions of it too. Like this schedule, like I said, this schedule is probably going to be tentative. It's going to be very much subject to change. So I have stuff planned out, but I'm also working with the motion. So it's going to be a combination of that. So you'll see more updates for this stuff as I have them readily available. Just know that I thank you guys very much for sticking with me through 47 episodes now. Next week is episode 48. We are quickly sorry, I had to stretch. Quickly approaching episode 50. That is exciting. I'm like super hyped for that. I've gotten a few more viewers lately, more people, friends, and like a couple of strangers over the internet have actually given me a little bit of props and some really good feedback and criticisms of what I can do to improve and get better for the podcast. So I thank everyone so much for all of that. I am so down for any feedback and criticism you guys may have, as long as you're not just gonna message, hey bro, you fucking trash, you suck. Like, if you're gonna call me trash, tell me why I'm trash and tell me how I can stop being trash, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, that's acceptable. You're trash because of this, but you know how you could stop being trash if you do this. I'd be like, respect, bro, thank you. But other than that, like I said, thank you guys so much. This has been really cool, and we're coming up on a year since I've been doing the podcast. I think the first episode officially came out in like June or July. I have to go back and look. Like, not counting, this would be, I don't know if I'd count like the testing episodes I did. I did like 3 test episodes before I officially started the podcast. I didn't upload those to YouTube, that's why. But I'd have to check when episode 1 officially got uploaded to see when the 1 year anniversary is happening. Work something out, maybe some kind of like little celebration for it. For 1 year of the 40 Ounce Fridays podcast. That's crazy. Hopefully we continue to grow steadily. Hopefully we get more listeners in. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my stuff. Please, if you have any feedback, any criticism, anything you want to say, anything I should do that you would like me to add on to the podcast, anything you would like me to make as videos for the future when I do start doing YouTube videos, anything at all like that, just comment. Just comment on whatever you're listening to this on, whether you're listening to it on Podbean, whether you're listening to it on YouTube, on Art Project's Facebook page, or on iTunes. We are on iTunes, or Spotify. Got 5 platforms. Cool. If you have any questions at all, concerns, comments, please let me know. I'm always open to hearing them, and I will always get back to you with the best of my ability. Since, you know, I don't have a lot of people commenting on my shit, it's easier for me to get back to the people that do. So let me know how you feel. Again, thanks. I'm rambling. I'm gonna go ahead and end things now. I'll catch you guys next week. What will we be talking about next week? I do not fucking know. I did not plan that far ahead, but we'll get there when we get there. Maybe something will piss me off and I'll rant about it. Anyway, guys, thanks. Love you. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Boo this man!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
O's man! 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 I pull up in that old jet.